here's a spoiler. It's about to kick off into a kinetic two-way rifle range. And
Oh, yeah.
That's what's happening now. In this whole immigration thing has been pushed by the Democrats to such a harsh level that they have literally disregarded the other half of this country who doesn't want this to take place. In fact, I would say 80% of the people in this country do not want this type of immigration. But the small 20% that has the lead, basically the steering wheel right now, is driving this country off of a cliff. And we're going to get into it. Winning.
Well, it's winning. It's really only about 2% of the population that's doing this. It's our elites, don't you know? They're very much in charge, and they know what's good for us. So I decided to go with a different page off the bat here. I was going to start with something else, but we're going to go right into stage-managed invasions, as Pop mentioned, immigration being weaponized, and I will run to the top of this page real fast for you.
Also, on a side note,
yeah,
this just isn't happening here in the States. It's happening in Europe as well.
It's happening in Asia now too. Korea is being overrun.
Ah, okay.
Which is bizarre. How immigration became a weapon in a hybrid war. It's really simple. The powers that be have enough money, enough resources, and control of all of the shipping lanes and all of the supply channels. They can move these illegal immigrants around without any problem at all. One of the ironies is the Middle Passage is now open, and we talked about that when we discussed the border 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
The Middle Passage, of course, was how they got the slaves to and fro. Now, in recent years, the English Channel has become one of the deadliest routes. You can see here the sheer amount of mass immigration that's going on. These channels are consistent enough and have enough traffic going through them that this is not immigration. Immigration is a small group.
Yep.
Moves a couple of 100 miles, maybe, and sets up shop.
Well, back in the day, before we had all of this craziness, it was somewhat of a process to become a United States citizen.
There was quite a process to it. Yeah, there was absolutely quite a process to it. Until the 1965 Hart-Celler Act, you had to be from a basically white Western nation to be able to immigrate to the United States without some sort of compelling reason that we should let you in. And there were.
And you had to bring value here, right?
You had to bring value here. We had a Chinese family in my neighborhood when I was a kid. So I went to school with their son, Andy. The parents were both mathematicians. And they were apparently good enough that they got allowed into the country.
Good.
But, you want people like that.
But here's the thing. What we have now is we have these immigrants coming across. They're a net negative. They're literally coming here penniless, and they want all of the free shit that the Democrats have voted into, let's say, law or into policy. And we'll get into those numbers in a little while.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. One of the biggest ones that most people know about, other than what's happening today, is what's called the Mariel boat lift. When I think it was Carter or Reagan said, if any Cubans set on American soil, they can stay. And
what a nut roll that was.
Well, Fidel Castro, what he did is, opened up all of his prisons and everything and said, everybody to the boats. And we got all of Cuba's criminals, all of Cuba's crazies, and they're still here to this day. I think we deported like 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
But the invasion that's coming across today has a far more insidious purpose. I started looking at the math. Pop's got me hooked in the idea of doing math stuff, and I hate him for it because I hate math.
That's why I'm here.
Right. That's why you're here, but you got me doing math things. And it made me mad. This starts with what's called the UN migration replacement migration population plan, and we will share this.
And what year was this cooked up? That was from the 2000s?
Now, you rescued my sorry ass basically around 2009. I was about to be homeless with my 8-year-old daughter. And that's when I first started noticing the UN population replacement program. and it was on the web, and it had a date on there of being posted up there as early as 1997. And then 2 years later, the invasions into Europe started, where they started those huge columns
Yep.
walking through Germany. Remember that on the news?
Correct.
And everybody was saying that can't happen in America. That
Uh-huh.
can't happen in. Well, I read the United Nations Population Replacement Program, and you have to find it on Archive. We put a link up there. You should have the link. But they laid it all out, and exactly what they said was going to happen happened in Europe.
And it's
And
happening here.
Now it's happening in the United States.
But here's another thing. When you go to the northern Slavic states, like Sweden and what have you, the old Viking producing countries, been overridden by Somalis and what have you. They're having all kinds of crime problems.
Sweden is now the rape capital of the world.
Yeah, that never happened there before.
It didn't happen. There was like 2 or 3 rapes a year in Sweden at that time.
Yeah.
Back before all of that happened. What we're getting in the United States now is a combination of Somalis, Senegalese, Congolese, all of these countries that there's no way you're walking across the Pacific Ocean, which means somebody's bringing them here.
That's right.
And the United Nations has been at this for some time, and we fund it.
Yeah.
The United States funds the United Nations to the tune of, I think, 82% of the bill.
Yeah, I was just going to say 80% of their operating costs used to be covered by us.
We also fund the WHO and the WEF.
Yeah, which has been weaponized against us.
Yeah. The numbers of immigrants needed to prevent declines in the working age population are larger than those needed to prevent declines in total population. In some cases, such as the Republic of Korea, which is being inundated, France, which has been inundated, and the United Kingdom, London has 33% English right now.
Correct. It's
gone.
It's gone.
It's Constantinople, or should I say Istanbul?
It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. Or the United States, they are several times larger. If such flows were to occur, post-1995 immigrants and their descendants would represent a strikingly large share of the total population in 2050, between 30 and 39% in the case of Japan, Germany, and Italy. This has already happened in those countries.
Well, Japan is
not Japan. Japan staved it off.
Yeah, Japan said no.
Yeah, so far Japan has managed to hold off, but they're rotting the country from the inside. And these are UN programs, these are WEF programs, all that manga that everybody loves, all that weirdo porn that the Japanese do. That's where it's coming from.
Yeah.
They're trying to rot the Japanese cultural norms from within using this. And all it did was make the Japanese weirder, though.
Yeah, listen, let's be honest. We can do a whole show on how weird and crazy Japanese people are with all of their,
and it's like the old
fetishes.
It's like the old Gremlins movie too. If you drop a Japanese in water after giving him food after midnight, he turns into a gremlin.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yep. And they multiply. And it's terrible.
It's bad.
So what's going on? The UN is claiming that if a population begins to decline, its economy will also decline, and they can't have that. Well, why? Because the UN is funded on our tax dollars. That's why. This is how they sustain themselves. This is the parasite telling you that it's killing you.
Well, here's the thing. I think it's more insidious than that.
Okay.
I literally think we have individuals who are behind the Georgia Guidestones philosophy.
Sure.
Literally want to see 7 out of 10 people dead.
Yes. Yeah, and that's what will result from this in the long run. That is what will result from this in the long run. These orc armies that are coming in are mostly war-age males. And many of them are from hyper-violent countries with no concept of a social conscience, or for that matter, a conscience at all that we're used to. Pop and I and a lot of the guys, all the guys we served with, have been to places where life is cheap.
Yeah, listen.
It doesn't mean anything.
I have looked into the eyes of some of the most vicious, evil people you can imagine, and world champions alike. And I laughed in all of their faces at their meager attempts to teach me lessons which death could not. But they're out there.
Yeah.
You just couldn't believe some of the raw fucking evil I had to deal with while I was in Iraq.
I had the same thing when we were interviewing North Korean defectors. some
Yeah.
of the prison guards and stuff like that. They're like, oh yeah, if a girl got pregnant, we would just kick her down and shove a shovel handle up her and kick it up there to abort the baby. And they're talking about it like they're ordering a sandwich
It's no
at
big deal.
Potbelly.
Yeah.
They don't have the social conscience or the concept of a conscience or morals that we have. That's what's flooding into the country right now.
You cannot move third world people into a first world country and expect it to stay a first world country.
Exactly.
There's going to be some regression. It's going to get bloody.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you just add that on top of the fact that they're crashing our economy. They're going to basically get rid of your ability to cook food and heat your house if the Greenpeace idiots get their way, the damn tree huggers.
Correct.
So I mean, we're literally getting attacked in virtually every single way you possibly can, minus the two-way kinetic rifle range, because we're at war spiritually, we're at war economically, we're at war psychologically. There's war going on in the digital realm.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, we are fighting on every single front right now, except for the one where you bleed. That's it.
But that's coming.
We all know it's coming.
There already have been incidents. They're just not making the news. I guarantee you, with as many of those illegals that are here, there have already been incidents.
Yeah. And if anyone has any news in regards to incidents that are taking place that aren't in the mainstream media, email them to us, redonkulous12@gmail.com, and we'll cover them. We will cover them.
I'll vet them out. I have access to police reports at that level. At a basic level, I can get to those without too much trouble. So let's get to the istophobic part, and here's where everybody's going, racist. Look, reality is what reality is, okay?
All right.
The United States of America, when it formed as a country, was formed by European white Christians who came here and conquered and colonized this land. Yes, there were indigenous people here beforehand. Here is also reality, and even the indigenous will tell you that this is also true. They were basically a sunsetting Stone Age culture. The only reason they got metal and horses and the idea of money, they didn't have an idea of money. They traded, which is fine. There's a lot of cultures that do that.
Yeah.
Is from the Spanish and then the English coming and then the French coming and giving them these ideas and these tools and items.
Greed. We gave them greed.
We did. No, they had greed already.
Oh, okay.
That's one of the big myths. They had greed already. They had slavery like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the tribes were extremely violent. The Comanche would skin you alive and stake you out over an anthill for fun.
Yeah.
The Huron would strap you to a cross, like an X.
And burn you.
And either burn you or skin you alive in 1-inch strips to make it last.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Huron were a lot of fun, and they were up around the Ontario and New York areas.
Yeah. Listen, all of this kumbaya where everyone was at peace until the Europeans came. Let's just be honest.
Bunch of hogwash.
All right. Before Europe came to the Americas, there were nations in Mexico and South America who executed people en masse so they could give the blood to their gods.
Cortez writes about it extensively.
And that is, and listen, I mean, there's like a comedy routine I'm thinking of doing where you have Cortez. He's, oh yeah, look at this. Oh, they're so advanced. Look at this construction.
Oh my God.
And they look up and they see some bodies flopping down the stairs. Like, yeah, these guys got to die.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's what's going through their head.
It wasn't just a couple.
No,
it wasn't just a couple. It was hundreds.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Spaniards had to look at these. This is way too much. This has got to stop.
Yeah. They're like, oh my God.
Yeah. It's way over the top.
But here's the thing. Like I've said this forever. We are evil hairless monkeys.
Yep.
Some of us are just more melanin challenged than the other. We take advantage of each other. We kill each other. We look for any type of opportunity to get one up on our neighbor. That is just how we are.
That's absolutely correct. There are groups of us that when we do band together, we'll go, hey, let's do it together. It'll be a good time. Let's do it together. And you get Vikings.
Yes.
You get Charlemagne. You get Napoleon.
The Mongols.
Julius Caesar. The Mongols.
Yeah. The Huns.
The Huns. The Mongols were awesome.
Oh my God.
I'd love to do a whole show just on the Mongols.
They
just
were
because of how
savage.
crazy. Anyway, let's get to the istophobia.
Yeah.
The claim in the UN and WEF is that the white population of the United States of America, we're focusing on America because that's where we are right now, okay?
Yeah.
This is happening in other countries as well. Maybe we could do that later, but right now we're focusing on America. The population in 1950 of whites was 134,942,000, or roughly 135 million whites. The claim is that they were dying off. So let's take a look and see what happens. Here's 1850 to 1940, and come down here. I know this is a little tedious, but bear with me.
But here's the thing.
Yep.
We're going to get called istophobe bigots because we connect two lines on a graph somewhere or flow chart that has numbers, because numbers are white supreme pizza.
Now remember, these pages you're looking at here were typed up and filed as records before they were ever digital records, so nobody's had a chance to alter this stuff.
Yes, yet.
So the white population of the United States increased by 17.5% between 1950 and 1960, as compared with 26.7% for the non-white population. So the white persons constituted 88.6 or 89% of the total population in 1960.
And those are baby boomers.
That is the baby boom.
Nope, that's the baby boom.
That is correct. Does this one have a table? Yes, it does. These are the 1960s numbers. Now you can see it was 134,000. Now it's basically 159,000 whites. The population
159 million.
159 million. Thank you.
Sorry.
Maybe it needs to be. Maybe I'm just wishing. I just want to get it over with. Let's do this thing. So as we go through time, we'll share this tab instead. Here we are in 1997.
You got to blow that up.
Zoom in here, blow it up for the old dudes. And you can see from 1990 to 1997, we're not like freaking out and overbreeding, but overbreeding causes population weakness. You see this visually if you live anywhere in the Midwest with the deer population. If there's overbreeding, there's dead deer all over the side of the road. Human beings are pretty much the same.
Well, we are animals.
We are animals.
Yeah.
We're warm-blooded mammals. And if we get too many people in an area, we'll slow down our population growth, which is what has happened here. You can see 1990, 249 million, basically. I won't just read them all off like that. That's crazy. But by 1997, you're looking at 268 million. The population's fine.
Yeah.
There's no decline at all. Okay. And if the numbers had held, we would still be 89% of the population. But in 1965, something happened.
They passed those laws.
The 1965 Hart-Celler Immigration Act that allowed anybody to get into the country, and that was the opening of the floodgates.
So there's stuff in this country like an old straw mattress.
Yes. There is nothing wrong with our population. We have exactly the population that we need for the United States of America. What's happening is we're being overrun. We went from 89% in 1965.
What about their argument for the economy?
Let's talk about that.
Yes, let's get into the numbers and stuff.
Let's get into the numbers. So when was the United States economy at its strongest in modern memory? Mr. Pop!
All right. Well, because we're a bunch of hairless monkeys, we're only at our best when we're at each other's throats. So I would say shortly after World War II.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the meat caser box.